Hey guys, a 180 backside shove-it is probably one of the most essential tricks you need to learn as a skimboarder because there are so many other tricks that build off of it. So I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to learn this trick and to be able to do it well. A backside shove-it is probably one of the first really cool tricks that you're going to learn as a skimboarder. A shove-it is where you jump in the air without spinning, and the skimboard rotates 180 degrees underneath you. Backside, in this case, means the back of the board is going towards your back. So let's talk through the basics first, and then we'll get into some other tips and tricks that can really be helpful. The basic mechanics are pretty simple. To do a backside shove-it, bend your knees slightly, then jump into the air. As you jump, start to rotate the board in a backside rotation with your back foot. Keep an eye on the board as it spins around and you're in the air. When you see it has completed 180 degrees, catch it with your feet. This means put your feet down on the board with your front foot near the middle of the board and your back foot near the toe. Bend your knees when you land to absorb the shock, keep your balance, and ride away. So let's talk about some tips that can help you master the 180 backside shove-it a little bit quicker. Practice at home. So chances are you're not watching this video while you're skimboarding. More likely you're lounging on the couch with snacks, thinking about how cool you're gonna look when you master this trick. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yes, you. And it may not be until tomorrow or next week or even next month until you get to go skimboarding again and practice, depending on your situation. But don't worry, I got you covered. You can start practicing today. First, get up off the couch, head over to Walmart, get a medium or large size flat cardboard box. Now head back home, throw the box down on the ground, and boom! Instant skimboard practice pad. It's not exactly the same as water, but hey, you won't face plant on the floor. Probably. Grab your board and let's get to work. You can practice your 180 shove-its, including all the tips I'm about to give you from your own backyard. Commit to the trick. Okay, first thing, you've really got to commit to the trick. If you don't, you're either not going to spin the board enough or you're going to bail off before you even have a chance to land it. Commit and stay right over the top of the board. What causes most people to have fear and not commit is they're afraid of missing the board and it hitting their feet or ankles. Yeah, this can hurt, but if you commit and stay right over the top of the board, then slam those feet down on the board after the 180-degree rotation, you have no worries about the board whacking your feet or ankles. Don't jump too high. When you're doing your 180 shove-it, you don't want to jump too high. It isn't very hard to spin the board 180 degrees, and it doesn't take that long, so you don't have to be in the air very long. But you do need to be able to catch the board and stomp down on it as it comes around. And if you're too high, you may not be able to get your feet down to the board when it's in the right position. Especially when learning, try to stay as close to the board as you can. If you need to be in the air a bit longer because the board hasn't rotated 180 degrees yet, bring your knees up a little higher to allow just a little bit of extra time. Be smooth. You don't have to shove the board very hard to get it around 180 degrees. Often beginners will really try to shove the board hard and they'll end up shoving it right out from underneath them. Don't shove the board out from underneath you. Just spin it. This will help you with something that we already talked about, staying over the top of the board. If you find yourself shoving the board out from underneath you, really work on being smooth with that back foot and don't over-exaggerate the back kicking motion. If you feel like you have to kick back really hard to get the board around and you're losing control, try these two things instead of just kicking back harder. First, really dig your big toe into the board and use it to help flick the board around. Second, if you feel like the board is rotating too slow, and that is why you need to shove it so hard with your back foot and are losing control, try this. You can give yourself a little more time in the air so that the board can get all the way around by just compressing your knees up a little more. You aren't actually jumping higher, you're just sucking your knees up toward your chest and giving the board just a little more time to get all the way around. Foot placement. Another thing that will help you be smooth and make it easier to get the board around without shoving it so hard that you lose your balance or shove it right out from underneath you is your foot placement as you set up the trick. Put your back foot as far back on the board as you can. This will make it easier to spin the board. To lightly touch on the physics here, if you remember anything about mechanical advantage from science class, that's totally coming into play here. The further away the force is from the point of rotation, the less force is needed. So the further back you get your foot, the less force will be required to spin the board. Bend your knees. We've mentioned this a few times already, but I can't emphasize this enough. Keep your knees bent as you set up the trick. Bend them in the air if you need some more time to let the board come around, and then keep them bent as you land. Bending your knees will help you keep your center of gravity low and make it easier to keep your balance throughout the trick, keeping you in control and leading to better, smoother landings. Getting pop. Once you've got the 180 backside shuvit down, you can start working on popping it out of the water. Lots of people think that popping a shuvit is a bit easier than a straight ollie, but it will still take some time and practice. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will be discussing some additional tips for popping shuvits in a separate video. Hey, I hope that video was helpful. Now it's time for you to get up off the couch and get practicing. Be sure to leave your progress in the comments below. Give me a big like if this video was helpful, and please subscribe to the channel so I can keep these tips coming. That's all for now. Keep smiling and skim on. Oh, hey, you're gonna see how long I keep going, huh? Whew, that's it for me. Worn out. If you're still here, please subscribe. We'll see you later. Whew. Ah.